Hi guys, it's Gemma Gagne with Convicted Hearts. I hope you're all doing well and feeling blessed. If you have a convicted heart, you are in the right place. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do so and become part of the Convicted Hearts family today. I would love to welcome you guys in and embrace you and share some of my stories and information with you, and I hope you can do the same with me. Today I'm going to talk to you about a case that was an extremely disturbing case of a child predator. I specifically remember this case, and it was requested by one of my subscribers to expose these type of individuals. And this particular case, my stepfather was a detective on back in the day, so it was very relevant in our household. Of course, he never spoke on it during the times of any trial going on or anything, but after a crime was over, somebody was convicted, he was free to speak about it. But I'm just going to read an article to you guys, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and tell you some personal information that I happen to know. So here we go. This case is actually on an individual named James Lamb. Okay. Serial child molester James Lamb thought they'd figure it out, the elusive loophole that would free him completely from the state SEX violent predator program. I'm being careful with my words, you guys. YouTube stuff. I don't want to get in trouble here. Okay. He was so pleased he had even shared it with another child molester in a letter form in the Monterey County Jail. He wasn't clever enough, though, to remember that the jail mail is censored. Genius, right? The letter revealed to the Herald on Friday landed Lamb back in Coalinga State Hospital, where he may remain indefinitely. The next move is in the hands of Judge Adrienne Grover. Her choices over the future of this man, who had molested dozens of children, present risk and high potential fallout. Grover was scheduled to sentence Lamb on Friday, his 53rd birthday, for failing to register as an SEX offender last year. This is a little bit old article, so I'll give you the year in a moment. She delayed that decision until July 17th to ask for supplemental evaluations by the Department of Mental Health and the County Probation Department. I find that interesting that they don't do that for any other crime, but they do for these creeps. Or to my knowledge anyways, they don't go that far out of their way. Okay, back to the article. Committed to the state program in 1998, Lamb had been living on River Road outside of Salinas under the stringent supervision of Liberty Healthcare, which manages the conditional release phase of this state program. One of the conditions of the release of James Lamb: register every 90 days as an SEX offender. In September, he missed that deadline. He was arrested and booked in the Monterey County Jail. As originally charged, Lamb was facing a potential life sentence under the Three Strikes Law. Prosecutor Angela McNulty and Grover eventually reduced his exposure and maximum 3-year sentence. He was scheduled for a pretrial hearing and possible settlement of the case in late March. On March 8th, he put pencil to paper and considerably changed his outlook. "Hey, bud, finally some news that rates as positive," Lamb wrote in a letter to a fellow child predator. Let's see. "We set for March 20th for pretrial. We will enter a no contest plea and accept a deal. Our offer will be the low term of 16 months. Note, they are likely expecting us to want the probation option, bringing me back to the street under liberty and probation. Not happening," he says. "Here's what my attorney laid out to me." Lamb then proceeded to tell his friend how he would likely serve only half of his prison sentence because his crime wasn't violent. Yeah. He'd already served 6 months awaiting trial, leaving only 2 to 3 months actual prison time following by his 6 months of parole. But the best part, he said, is that the prison sentence would end his commitment to the sexually violent predator program. And once paroled, he would be a free man with no SVP label, required to register only once a year. You see how he's sharing this information with people like himself in this program that some people believe will cure or heal these type of disgusting individuals. The explanation was punctuated with an exclamation point and a smiley face. How cute, right? Disgusting. This is an avenue for freedom no one had considered, he continued. I know you have been wondering how we might find a loophole. This is in, I can't read what that says. I'll slip through the cracks and vacate this Talon hold that Liberty and DMH command. People can then refer to the Lamb case. Amazing, huh? So he wanted to be known for finding this loophole. Prosecutor McNulty realized the true magnitude of the letter when she said an internet search of the recipient's name, Bruce Vail, and learned it was an alias for Bruce Lee Clotfelter, a serial molester who lived in Napa without supervision after being released from the sexually violent predator program. Clotfelter had been committed to the program after multiple molestation convictions and then been caught posing as a Top Gun pilot. Talon Hawk is the name he went by, who was volunteering his mentoring services to local school children. Grover was anything but amused. After reading the letter March 20th, but without revealing its contents, she rebuked Lamb for manipulating the system, revoked his outpatient status, and sent him back to Coalinga. She also asked the program's director and psychiatrist to assess Lamb and determine which of the 4 lockdown phases of the program he'd be placed in if his outpatient status was not restored. On Friday, she said, the assessment gave no indication that the mental health experts considered Lamb's letter in reaching their conclusions. Wow. Additionally, she said the probation officer did not appear to have considered the ramifications of the prison sentence in her resentencing recommendations. She asked for supplemental reports for each. Grover must now weigh public safety against the court of public opinion. On July 7th, she can sentence Lamb to up to 3 years in prison, or she can place the man who admitted molesting over 50 children, admitted, not accused, admitted, over 50 children on probation, release him on probation, and let him remain in treatment, either in Coalinga or under supervision in the county. While the knee-jerk reaction for many would be to send the sexual predator back to prison, it would mean losing local control over his future and trusting the State Department of Mental Health to attempt to relocate Lamb to a sexually violent predator program after his prison term. It was a risk Lamb was eager to take. His attorney, Assistant Public Defender Don Landis, I trip out, I don't know how anybody can defend these people, but okay, declined to comment on this letter Friday. So, yeah, this is the guy, the creep, the degenerate that I remember hearing about back in the day. You see, they were having trouble placing him when he was released from prison. Nobody wanted to accept him in their neighborhood, rightfully so. Even in my neighborhood, nobody wanted to accept him. They tried to place him just about everywhere. Mind you, when I say place him, that means the state of California was paying for his rent, was paying most likely for his groceries, bills, whatever. You know, he probably received some form of welfare. But they were also paying for his 24-hour, I believe, armed security. And when he was rearrested for not applying or registering every 90 days, He was in fact arrested in the car with his armed security protecting him. So, let's see if this is the correct one. I believe this was in 2009, you guys. And I remember my stepfather speaking about this case after the fact. I believe James Lamb was one of the many sex offenders that even volunteered to be chemically castrated. I don't know the details of what goes into that. I'm assuming it is some type of medication, substance that they're either injected with or they're given pills for to prevent the inevitable happening when he is aroused by whatever disgusting things he thinks of. I've had a couple people, not a lot, because not many supporters of these types are willing to come out from under their shell. But I've had a couple people private message me defending these individuals. And I was taken back. I don't get it. I'm sorry. Even if this was my own flesh and blood, this is the type of crime that would definitely cause me to turn my back on you. I could never co-sign this type of behavior. I could not personally forgive it. That would be between you and God at that point, and the Lord would have to work on me to get through this. But thank God that's not my position. You know, if you harm a child in that way, you're taking their innocence, you're taking their future, you are setting them back in a way that cannot be restored easily, if at all. It can be. I've seen it be restored to some, but not to all. And it's a struggle, and I think it's a struggle for the rest of that person's life. There's no amount of time you can serve that would be justified to me. And I know many parents feel the same way. I don't know how, honestly, some parents can hold themselves back from reaching out and putting hands on someone like this. I'm not suggesting that. I don't condone that. I'm just saying that would be a definite thought that crosses your mind as a parent. And we need to look out for each other as parents, right? Look out for your own children, most definitely. Educate them about these types. And also look out for your neighbor's children, your neighborhood children, because although they may not be your personal responsibility, it is our responsibility as an adult to look out for the innocent, right? So how terrible would you feel if something happened to someone else's child even? I definitely look out for my neighbor's kids. So when they were trying to place this guy in housing, they tried many towns in Salinas. They also tried to place him in an area, a small town called Prunedale, which is right outside of Salinas. It's actually considered Salinas. My grandparents lived there, and I remember there was a certain road they tried to place him in a house on. And I think the rent the state was going to pay was something like $2,700 a month. This landlord was able to kind of monopolize that with the state because nobody else wanted him. So he was able to place this price on the property, although that's probably what you'd pay in this year for rent at that property. Back then, that's a bit steep. But the great thing about a small town is they're small town people. And small town people don't like people like James Lamb. The neighbors weren't having it. As a matter of fact, I was going to say alleged, but it's reported actually, I believe by KSBW, you'll have to look back and see, that rattlesnakes were even placed in this landlord's property or garage or residence as a form of alleged threat to not allow James Lamb to live in his rental property. It's also alleged that one of the final straws that the landlord finally refused to rent to James Lamb was a certain organization, some might call a biker organization, that made sure, 81% sure, that Lamb could not rent in that small town of Prunedale. And thanks to their intervention, allegedly, that landlord wouldn't run to him. And thanks to the rattlesnakes too. So, I just want to say, be vigilant. Keep an eye out. Check your registry. It's absolutely legal to know who's living in your neighborhood. It should be there. It should be enforced. We have to protect our children. I believe James Lamb is incarcerated once again for violating that, not registering every 90 days. I will make a follow-up video just to confirm that, because I'm not absolutely positive. But I want to also tell you guys this. Being that my stepfather worked in the SEX crimes division for many, many years, longer than anybody actually should work in that division, because it's so traumatizing to the human mind. I'm sure you can only imagine the things they see, come across, have to testify, and interrogate these type of people. Somebody can easily say, chemically castrate them, put them in therapy, help them. They were a victim once, you know. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. Maybe they're just a perverted, disgusting individual that preys on innocent people, innocent children. But what my stepfather told me a long time ago, when I was asking him, well, I mean, he's chemically castrated, what can he really do? I never thought of this, but he said to me, you can't chemically castrate their mind. You might be able to determine whether they can no longer use their lower region, whatever, but these people have already thought out tools, objects, devices, things they could use on their victims that gratifies them just as much in their sick mind. I couldn't believe when he told me that. I had never even thought of that or considered that, because like most people, we have a normal functioning mind and we don't think those disgusting thoughts. But let that sink in. That's the kind of people that feel like they should be rehabilitated and then go and find a loophole and decide to share it with their buddies so they can both get away with it, and then share it with more and share it with more until their whole little network of pervs find out the loophole they need to get away with these crimes. Don't let it be your kids, your neighbor's kids, my kids. I know I am on top of things like a mama bear at all times, and I hope you guys are the same. We can't stand for this. You know, I'm not pushing any sort of like violence or anything like that, but just stay educated. Stay aware of your surroundings and who lives around you. So, just wanted to share that little bit of info with you guys. I'm going to be doing some more stories on people like this. I've had it requested of me, and I'm hoping that in the future my stepfather may even be willing to sit and share his knowledge of cases that he's worked on. I think it was 26 years he did, maybe a little less in this particular area, but you know, even if he doesn't want to be on camera, which I don't think somebody retired from, you know, being a detective would, I can at least record his voice speaking to me and vouch for who I'm speaking to. I feel like he has a lot of knowledge to share, so fingers crossed he'll be willing to do that. Until next time, you guys, sending you guys all a ton of love and prayers. Hope this wasn't too disturbing to anyone. I just wanted to help spread the awareness for what's really out there, what our state is paying for, and what people are trying to call a rehabilitation program. Okay? It is what it is. They are what they are. In my opinion, there's no changing these people. Sending you all a ton of love and prayers again. Until next time, Jen Magana with Convicted Hearts. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like, make a comment. Let me know what you think down below. Until next time, guys.